The Egyptian-Israeli border today is no longer a front line. The state of war between the two countries, which had existed since 1948, was formally ended with the signing of the Egyptian-Israeli peace treaty in March 1979. The quiet border is a sign of a stagnant peace. It was not supposed to be this way. In their peace treaty, Egypt and Israel agreed to establish diplomatic, economic and cultural relations, including an end to economic boycotts. This process is commonly summed up in one word: normalization. But the process came to a halt following Sadat's assassination.
Normalization has become a dirty word in Arab political vocabulary. This disappointed the Israelis. What the Israelis really wanted is a people-to-people peace. Israel gave up, returned a vast territory, oil fields, strategic assets, a town, villages, airfields. And what did it get in return? In return, it got peace, which is essentially, it's a piece of paper. It's something that the Egyptians signed. It's not as concrete as the Israeli concessions.
To this day, many Egyptians reject normalization, angered by what they see as Israel's denial of Palestinian rights, its continuing settlement activity in occupied Arab territories, and its military offensives.
You know that there is no love lost between the Egyptian people and the Israelis. You know that the Israelis feel isolated in this part of the world. Very few people are willing to engage them in serious contacts. The Israeli ambassadors that come here don't stay very long because they feel ostracized, they feel isolated. I mean, the first ambassador, I think, started by walking in the street thinking that people would be very happy to see him.
It did not take long for reality to sink in. Israeli diplomats soon became a high-status target. During the mid-80s, a group calling itself Thawrat Masr, or Revolution of Egypt, carried out a number of assassinations of Israeli diplomats in Cairo. Members of the group were arrested at the end of 1987. The group's leader was a former Egyptian intelligence officer who had resigned following Sadat's visit to Jerusalem 10 years earlier. Another member of the group was the son of former Egyptian President Jamal Abdel Nasser. Israel's embassy in Cairo was the subject of a satirical movie. In 2005, an Egyptian film called El Sefara fi El Omara, or the Embassy in the Building, dealt with the Egyptian-Israeli relationship. Starring famous Egyptian actor Adel Imam, it tells the story of an expatriate who returns to Cairo after many years working in the Gulf, only to find a shock waiting for him. The Israeli embassy is in the same building in which he lives.
The film has a deeper message, which is that as long as Israel deals with the Arabs in the way it does, and especially with the Palestinians, then there is not the slightest chance of being good neighbors.
In the world of music, Egyptian singer Shaban Abdul Rahim had a smash hit with his song called I Hate Israel.
There are things in the Egyptian media which go beyond legitimate political criticism. When they denounce the Jewish people as a people or its religion as a religion, when they use anti-Semitic themes from the worst sources in the West, this goes beyond criticism, and this is very difficult for the Israelis to accept.
The peace treaty stipulated that Egypt and Israel should abstain from hostile propaganda against each other. Ali Abu Shadi is Egypt's top censor. While tightly controlling free speech in Egypt, the government censors see no problem in attacking Israel through the arts.
What's the problem? There are clauses in the treaty which the Israelis are violating. So let them object. So what? We can also object to many things. I have a right to express my point of view. There are international laws that forbid Israel from the policies it is continuing. So why are they judging me? When they abide by international laws, then so will I.
Egyptian unions and syndicates took strong action against any members who spoke in favor of normalization. When Egyptian author Ali Salem traveled to Israel in 1994 with the aim of writing a book, he drew a hostile response from his peers.
That's blackmail. And this blackmail reached its peak when I was fired from the Actors Syndicate in 1996. And later I was fired from the Writers Union in 2001.
For their part, Israeli intellectuals and artists discovered that they were not welcome in Egypt.
Cairo holds a big annual book fair. And at first, 1980, I was present there. We did participate. We were given a special corner for the Israeli books, and we brought books here. And it worked. And next year, there were those who are adversaries in Cairo who hate us, arranged violent demonstrations against Israeli participation. And in the year after, the government said, we can't protect you.
As a professor of Arabic literature, Sasson Somekh was chosen to head the Israeli Academic Center in Cairo.
No university would invite me to give a lecture, and they know that I have written several things about Arabic literature, but nobody would invite me to give a lecture. Very few institutions would allow me to use their libraries.
From the Egyptian side, cases of exchange and cooperation with Israelis were viewed with great suspicion. Rumors even surrounded a joint agricultural project.
Public opinion was quite negative about this cooperation when certain diseases began to appear in our palm trees. People claim Israel was behind this. It was the same with bees and with some other crops. People started saying that Israeli seeds were causing damage to our soil, which would last for years.
In the 80s and 90s, Egyptian Minister of Agriculture Youssef Wali became a target of accusation and blame for the import of Israeli pesticides that many believed were a cause of cancer.
There are many accusations and much exaggeration about Israel, but no evidence. If we look at this from a social and political point of view, then all these rumors and this suspicion highlights a distrust towards Israel. People are very willing to believe that Israel is behind every calamity.
The level of mistrust was an indication of how strained the relationship had become in the eyes of ordinary Egyptians.